Let's now talk about some modern aspects of pragmatics. In recent times, pragmatics has developed both in depth and diversity. So, the recent trends of pragmatics can be seen as too diverse and complex to describe briefly. Therefore, I'll just focus on certain aspects of its development in recent times, and it would not be possible to talk about all dimensions, and especially in complete depth. Early in the modern period of the development of pragmatics, we can see that this discipline divided into three dimensions, or into three kinds, you might say it. Based on various interpretations of the communication, or the principles that govern communication. And these kinds are now known as Gricean view, or New Gricean view, or the theory of relevance. And there is a series of theorists who work under this theory. There have been a huge number of philosophers who work in the field of speech acts, and there has been some, or you could say, volumes of work by the pragmatist philosophers as well as linguists who work in this field, viewing that English, or a language, any language, is speaking any language is similar to performing an action. So we see that there has been multiple forums where the work on pragmatics has been published or presented. Also, we have Journal of Pragmatics, which is very popular. We also have an association, International Pragmatics Association, which represent a variety of subfields of pragmatics, and the work in these diverse fields is usually promoted by the Journal of Pragmatics and International Association of Pragmatics. From the 1970s, many theorists have been working in the formal accounts of scalar implicature, presupposition, and conventional implicature, which is very important and has contributed to the development of contemporary pragmatics. These are usually known as formal pragmatists, and they have a close connection with some of the semantic theories. For example, a discourse representation theory. We also have works in pragmatics focusing on, or in collaboration with, the knowledge available in other fields of knowledge. For example, in cognitively oriented work, we have relevance theory, and which relies on the structure of the mind and in how pragmatic inference is performed through it. For example, works in psychology based on mind reading or theory of mind leads us to infer what is going on in people's mind through their actions. So it helps us to know about people's mental states, and thereby knowing the meanings, intended meanings of their words, by collaborating between their actions, mental states, and the words. So this is an interesting area of investigation, and it is still developing. A pragmatic inference is usually fast and seems not to be usually effortful, but this point of view seems quite simplistic, because the action which is being performed here, seeking an inference, is quite demanding, and it actually is rather complex. Some pragmatic theorists have been exploring the possibility of adopting insights from research into heuristics also. So that's another area of development recently. A very recent development we can see is in form of experimental pragmatics, which relies on the combination of various aspects of pragmatics and linguistics. For example, it relies on the intersection of pragmatics, psycholinguistics, the psychology of reasoning, and developmental pragmatics. And among them, the last one, developmental pragmatics, is still a recent concept. So there are various aspects of pragmatics which are developing these days. And pragmatics and its subfields are still, some of its subfields are still at their developing stage.